Okay, we're going to look at lesson 610, angle, angle, triangle, similarity. Okay, so basically, this criterion states that if two angles in one triangle are congruent to two angles in another triangle, then the two triangles are going to be similar. That automatically makes that third triangle in each one congruent to each other. So this is saying angle A is the same as angle D. Angle B is the same as angle E, so since two are the same in one than the other, then the third is going to automatically be the same, and those two triangles are therefore going to be similar. Okay, so let's take a look at this first one. Okay, so you have a little triangle, XTU, inside of a bigger triangle, XYZ. So remember, all three angles inside of a triangle have to add up to 180 degrees. So let's add these two together and subtract from 180. And so that makes this angle T 29 degrees. Okay, so then let's add these two angles, 103 and 46. So now we're looking at XYZ. Let's add these two angles together and subtract from 180 to find the missing angle of the big triangle, and that's 31. So if you take a look at these three, and then these three of the big one, the only one they have in common is angle X. So since they do not have at least two angles that are congruent in each one, this is not similar. That little wavy line means similar. So no, not similar, because they don't have at least two angles in each one that is similar. Okay, so let's take a look at this one right underneath it. And we're going to do the exact same thing. So remember, in the last lesson, vertical angles are congruent to each other. So these two are vertical angles. They share a vertex. So this has to be 35 degrees. So we have one, and if you add the two together and subtract from 180, this is 102 degrees. If you add these two and subtract from 180, because these all three have to add up to 180, this is 48. So do you see how only one set of angles in each triangle is congruent? So these are not similar because there aren't at least two angles in each triangle that are similar, or congruent, excuse me. Okay, so now let's find the value of X. We can actually find all three of these triangles. So remember, these are vertical angles. They share a vertex and they're directly diagonal from each other, so they have to equal each other. So we're actually going to write 3x minus 9 equals 2x plus 10. They have to be congruent, equal to each other. So let's solve this. Let's move like terms over. I'm going to move the 9 over, so x is 19. So now that I know what x is, I can actually take 19 and plug it into all these x's and figure out what this is. So this would be 19 plus 19, so this is 38 degrees right here. 3 times 19 minus 9, this is going to be 48 degrees. 2 times 19 plus 10, this will be 48 degrees. Again, remember, these are vertical, so they have to be equal to each other. This is 2 times 19, so that's 38 degrees. So now look, folks, do you see how you have this set of angles and this set of angles that are congruent? So if at least two are congruent, that means the third one's going to be congruent, which means your triangles are similar. So if you add these two together and subtract from 180, this has to be 94, same thing here. This is going to be 94. So these two are similar triangles. Okay, let's take a look at this one right here, and we're going to do the exact same thing. So again, these are vertical angles, so these have to be equal to each other. So 4x take away 1 equals 3x plus 14. Okay, let's solve and get like terms together. So x minus 1 equals 14, so we're going to add 1 over and get x equals 15. So now that I know that x is 15, I'm going to plug in 15 to all these x's, and I'm going to find all these angles and see if our two triangles are similar. So 15 plus 15, that's going to be a 30-degree angle. So 4 times 15 minus 1, that's going to be 59 degrees. And then 3 times 15 plus 14, that's going to be 59 degrees. And then 2 times 15, that's 30 degrees. So again, look, if at least two angles in each triangle are congruent, then that means these two triangles are going to be similar. The third one is absolutely going to be the same. So if you add together and subtract from 180, this is 91 degrees. Same thing here. Add and subtract from 180, that's 91. So these two triangles are similar. Okay, let's take a look at just a couple more to help you out. Okay, so if you take a look at these two triangles, remember all three angles inside of a triangle have to add up to 180. So this plus this equals 180. So 18x plus 9x plus 9x has to equal 180. So then when you add these two together, you get 30, add all three of these, you get 36x equals 180 divided by 36. So x is 5. So then plug in 5 into all of these x's and multiply by these numbers, and this is going to be 90, 45, 45. Okay, so now let's do the same thing. All three of these have to add up to 180. So 6y plus 3y plus 3y equals 180. And then when you add all of these together, you get 12y equals 180. Let's divide by 12, and y this time is 15. So now plug in 15 to all of these y's. This is going to be 90 degrees, this is going to be 45, and this is going to be 45. So the triangles are absolutely similar because you have all three angles in this triangle are congruent to all three angles in this triangle. Okay, so now if you look at one more, this is our last one. So add these together and subtract from 180, and this is 45 degrees. Add these together and subtract from 180, this is 104. And then add these together and subtract from 180, and this is 31. So at first glance, these all look similar, but the name has to match the order of the triangle. So the order of the name has to match this order of this name. So let's check this. X is first and S is first. So X is 104 and S is 104. So that matches. Okay, Y is second and Q is second. Y is 45 and Q is 45. Okay, and then Z is third and R is third. Z is 31 and R is 31. So that absolutely matches. The order is the same. Okay, let's try the next one. X and Q. So X is first, 104, and Q is 145. So these are not the same. So that will not work. Let's try this next one. X is first and G is first. So X is 104 and G is 104. Okay. Let's try the next letter, Y and H. Those are both second. So Y is 45 and H is 45. That works. And then the third one will absolutely work as well. So Z and I, Z is 31 and I is 31. So that matches. I marked that one. Okay, so let's check these last few. G and S, those both come first in the name. So G is 104 and S is 104. Okay, I and R both come second. I is 31 and R is 31. And then the last one is absolutely going to work as well. Okay, now these last two do not work. So Z and G. Z comes first, and that's 31. G comes first, and that's 104. 31 is not the same as 104. G comes first, and S comes first. G is 104, and S is 104, but H and R. H is 145, and that's 31, so that doesn't work as well. Thank you.